Cooking oil is something most of us use every single day without giving it a second thought. We drizzle it over vegetables, fry our eggs in it, or stir it into sauces. It feels harmless, just another part of preparing meals. But what if the oil sitting in your kitchen is quietly damaging your heart? What if one simple mistake in the type of oil you choose could actually clog your arteries and increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, or other serious conditions? The truth is, not all oils are created equal, and some are far more dangerous than we realize. The heart is our body's engine, pumping tirelessly day and night to keep blood flowing. For it to stay strong, the blood vessels or arteries that carry blood must remain flexible and clear. But when harmful fats build up in these arteries, they narrow and stiffen, restricting blood flow. This process, known as atherosclerosis, is one of the leading causes of heart attacks. The oils we cook with play a direct role in this process, either protecting our arteries or harming them. The danger comes from oils high in trans fats and certain saturated fats. These fats raise LDL cholesterol, the so-called bad cholesterol, which deposits plaque inside arteries. Over time, this plaque hardens, blocking blood flow and forcing the heart to work harder. Imagine a water pipe filled with greasy buildup. Eventually, the flow slows to a trickle. That's exactly what happens inside our arteries. And the shocking part is that many popular cooking oils contribute to this clogging effect without people realizing it. Even worse, the oils that seem harmless are often the most dangerous. Processed seed oils, reused frying oils, and oils found in packaged foods often contain hidden trans fats. Margarine and partially hydrogenated oils, once marketed as healthy alternatives to butter, are some of the worst offenders. While many countries have restricted or banned them, they can still sneak into cheaper cooking oils and baked goods. Seniors especially may remember decades of advertising that encouraged using these oils without knowing the risks. Consider Mr. Che, a 65-year-old who loved cooking fried snacks for his grandchildren. He always used the cheapest oil he could find at the market, believing oil was just oil. But during a routine checkup, his doctor found dangerously high cholesterol levels. His arteries were already showing signs of buildup. The culprit wasn't just the fried food it was the type of oil he had been using for decades. Once he switched to healthier oils and reduced frying, his cholesterol improved, and so did his energy. Or think of Mrs. Dara, who thought she was making a healthy choice by using margarine and partially hydrogenated oils instead of butter. She didn't realize those products were loaded with trans fats. For years, she baked and cooked with them, not knowing the silent damage being done to her arteries. By the time she learned the truth, she was already on medication for heart disease. Science has been clear for decades. Oils high in trans fats are among the most harmful substances for heart health. Even small amounts increase the risk of artery clogging plaque. That's why the World Health Organization has called for their elimination worldwide. Yet, millions of people still consume them daily, often hidden in fried foods, pastries, or packaged snacks. Saturated fats from certain oils also play a role by raising LDL cholesterol and triggering inflammation in blood vessels, making it easier for plaque to stick and grow. This topic matters because heart disease remains the leading cause of death worldwide, responsible for nearly 1 in 3 deaths. For seniors, the risk is even higher because arteries naturally stiffen with age. That means choosing the wrong cooking oil doesn't just add calories, it can accelerate a process already in motion. The choices we make in our kitchens, something as simple as which bottle of oil we reach for, can either protect us or put us at risk. Most people don't think twice about oil, but it's a daily habit with long-term consequences. The good news, once you understand which oils are dangerous and which are protective, you can make changes that safeguard your arteries for years to come. By replacing harmful oils with healthier alternatives, you're not just cooking, you're actively defending your heart. One of the biggest mistakes people make in the kitchen is relying on partially hydrogenated oils, commonly known as trans fat oils. For decades, they were marketed as modern, healthier replacements for butter and lard. Margarine shortening and many cheap vegetable oils once proudly carried labels suggesting they were heart-friendly. But science has proven the opposite. These oils are among the most harmful substances you can put into your body because they directly clog your arteries. Hydrogenation is a process in which manufacturers add hydrogen to liquid vegetable oils to make them more solid and extend their shelf life. That's how products like margarine or commercial frying oils stay stable for long periods. But this process also creates trans fats, which wreak havoc inside the body. Unlike natural fats that the body can process, trans fats are artificial and disrupt the way cells function. When you consume trans fats, they raise LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that sticks to artery walls, and lower HDL cholesterol, the good kind that helps clear excess fat from the blood. This double effect is particularly dangerous because it accelerates plaque buildup. Over time, arteries narrow and harden, reducing blood flow and increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke. Even small amounts can be harmful. Studies show that eating just 2% of daily calories from trans fats can increase the risk of heart disease by more than 20%. The danger doesn't stop there. Trans fats also trigger inflammation in the lining of blood vessels. Imagine your arteries as smooth highways where blood cells travel freely. Trans fats act like potholes in sticky tar, roughening the surface and making it easier for plaque to attach. Once that process begins, it rarely reverses without major lifestyle changes. Consider the story of Mrs. Dara again. For years, she cooked with margarine, believing it was healthier than butter. She made fried rice, stir-fries, and baked goods with it. She thought she was caring for her family, but slowly, the hidden trans fats were clogging her arteries. By the time her doctor explained the dangers, her cholesterol was already high, and she needed daily medication. When she switched to healthier oils and cut back on margarine, her numbers improved, but she always wished she had known sooner. Mr. Sock, a retired construction worker, had a similar experience. He often bought the cheapest bulk oil at the market, the kind used for deep frying again and again. It seemed practical. He wanted value for money. But this oil was often hydrogenated and reused, meaning it was packed with harmful compounds. After years of cooking this way, he developed chest pain and shortness of breath. His doctor warned him that clogged arteries were putting him at risk of a heart attack. The turning point came when he switched to oils like canola and soybean for stir-frying and reserved olive oil for salads. Within months, his energy improved, and his family noticed he looked healthier. It's important to understand that trans fats don't just come from the bottle of oil on your kitchen shelf. They are often hidden in processed foods, fried snacks, pastries, cookies, and fast food. When oils are reused many times at high heat, as in street food or commercial fryers, they break down into trans fats, even if they weren't there originally. That means the fried chicken or donuts you love may carry a hidden cost to your arteries. The World Health Organization has pushed for global elimination of trans fats, but enforcement varies. In many parts of the world, cheap oils and processed foods still contain them. That's why being informed and choosing wisely at home is so powerful. You may not control what every restaurant serves, but you can control what your family eats daily. What's the solution? Replace partially hydrogenated oils with healthier options. For everyday cooking, oils like olive oil, canola oil, or sunflower oil are better choices. They contain unsaturated fats that help raise good cholesterol and protect arteries. For high-heat cooking, avocado oil or refined olive oil work well because they stay stable at higher temperatures. Even simple steps, like using a small amount of oil instead of deep frying, make a big difference. The key isn't to eliminate oil entirely. Our bodies need fats to absorb vitamins and support cell function. The goal is to choose the right type. Think of oils as tools. Some build strong foundations, while others weaken the structure. Choosing wisely each day keeps your arteries clear and your heart strong. Another dangerous mistake people make with cooking oils is overusing oils high in saturated fat. Unlike trans fats, which are man-made, saturated fats occur naturally, but that doesn't make them harmless. In fact, when consumed in excess, saturated fats also raise LDL cholesterol, the kind that clogs arteries and put unnecessary strain on the heart. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature. Think of butter, ghee, palm oil, or coconut oil. These are common in many traditional dishes, and for generations, families use them without knowing the risks. While a small amount of saturated fat can be part of a balanced diet, regularly cooking with oils that are mostly saturated can accelerate artery damage, especially in older adults whose blood vessels may already be less flexible. Here's how it happens. When you eat foods cooked in saturated fat-rich oils, LDL cholesterol rises in your bloodstream. This cholesterol is sticky and tends to latch onto artery walls. Over time, the buildup forms plaque, narrowing the passage for blood. Imagine pouring grease into a narrow drain. Eventually, the flow slows and the pipe clogs. That's the same process happening silently inside your arteries. For Mr. Lim, a 70-year-old farmer, this was exactly the issue. He loved cooking with palm oil because it was cheap and gave food a rich taste. Every meal, from fried fish to curries, was prepared with it. But years of using palm oil caught up with him. At a medical checkup, he discovered he had high cholesterol and early signs of heart disease. His doctor explained that while palm oil is natural, its high saturated fat content was raising his LDL cholesterol. Switching to canola oil and cutting back on fried foods made a huge difference. Within 6 months, his cholesterol levels improved, and he felt less tired while working in the fields. Coconut oil is another example. For years, it was promoted as a miracle oil for weight loss, skin care, and brain health. While coconut oil does have certain beneficial compounds, such as medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, the reality is that it's also more than 80% saturated fat, much higher than butter or lard. Research shows that frequent use of coconut oil raises LDL cholesterol, increasing the risk of clogged arteries. The hype around coconut oil has led many people, especially health-conscious seniors, to use it liberally in cooking. Unfortunately, this natural oil can still do serious harm when used daily in large amounts. The same applies to ghee, a staple in South Asian cooking. While ghee contains vitamins and a rich flavor, it is also high in saturated fat. For older adults who already face increased risks of heart disease, relying heavily on ghee or butter for daily meals is like slowly stacking weights on the heart. The message here is not that you can never use these oils. Flavor and tradition are important parts of cooking, but balance is key. A small spoon of ghee for flavor is very different from frying all your meals in it. Moderation protects your arteries, while excess damages them. One important thing to remember is that saturated fats don't only come from obvious oils. Packaged foods like cookies, crackers, and instant noodles often contain palm oil or other saturated fat-heavy oils as cheap ingredients. That means even if you don't cook with them at home, you may still be consuming them without realizing it. Reading labels carefully helps you avoid hidden risks. What are the better alternatives? Oils rich in unsaturated fats. Olive oil, for instance, is one of the best choices. It's high in monosaturated fats, which help raise HDL, the good cholesterol that clears LDL from the arteries. Canola oil, soybean oil, and sunflower oil are also good options. These oils provide essential fatty acids and support heart health rather than harm it. For high-heat cooking, avocado oil is an excellent choice because it remains stable at higher temperatures. Switching to these oils can make a real difference. Studies on the Mediterranean diet, which relies heavily on olive oil, show a significant reduction in heart disease compared to diets high in saturated fats. Seniors who adopt these practices often experience better cholesterol levels, improved circulation, and even sharper memory. Since healthy fats also support brain health, consider Mrs. Saka, who once used coconut oil for almost everything. She believed it was keeping her healthy because she read about its benefits online. But after experiencing chest discomfort, she visited her doctor, who explained the risks of excessive saturated fat. She switched to olive oil for most meals and reserved coconut oil for occasional use. Within a year, her cholesterol levels improved, and she felt more energetic during her morning walks. So the lesson is clear. Oils rich in saturated fat are not the worst offenders like trans fats, but they are still dangerous when used heavily and daily. The more often you use them, the greater your risk of clogged arteries. Choosing unsaturated oils instead gives your arteries the protection they need, while still letting you enjoy delicious meals. The final dangerous mistake with cooking oil is reusing and overheating oil. This habit is common because people don't want to waste, especially when oil can be expensive. In many households and food stalls, the same pot of oil is used again and again for frying. At first glance, it seems harmless. Why throw away oil after one use? But the truth is, each time oil is heated, especially at high temperatures, it breaks down. With every reuse, it becomes more toxic and more harmful to your arteries. When oil is overheated or reused, its molecular structure changes. Healthy unsaturated fats transform into harmful compounds, including free radicals and trans fats. Free radicals are unstable molecules that damage cells, inflame blood vessels, and speed up the process of atherosclerosis. Over time, this inflammation makes it easier for cholesterol to stick to artery walls, creating plaque that clogs circulation. This is why people who frequently eat deep-fried foods, especially from street vendors or fast food outlets, face a higher risk of heart disease. Take the story of Mr. Van, who ran a small food stall. To save money, he would reuse the same oil to fry snacks day after day. The oil became darker and thicker, but he thought the flavor was better that way. After years of tasting his own food daily, he developed chest pain and eventually had a mild heart attack. Doctors explained that reused oil was partly to blame. He was shocked to learn that his attempt to save a little money had cost him his health. At home, many families do something similar. A pot of oil used for frying fish is left on the stove and used again for frying meat or snacks. The oil becomes smoky faster and tastes bitter, but people continue using it. What they don't realize is that these are signs the oil has already degraded. By that point, it is releasing compounds that harm the arteries with every bite. Even when oil isn't reused, overheating it is still risky. Every oil has a smoke point, the temperature at which it begins to burn and release harmful chemicals. Once oil smokes, its structure breaks down and toxic compounds form. For example, olive oil has a lower smoke point than avocado oil. Using it for deep frying can cause it to break down quickly, creating harmful byproducts. This is why it's so important to match the oil to the type of cooking. Light or salads are great for olive oil, but high-heat frying should use more stable oils like avocado or canola. This is where small choices make a big difference. Avoid reusing oil multiple times. If you fry foods, let the oil cool and then discard it responsibly instead of saving it for tomorrow. Try to limit deep frying overall, replacing it with grilling, steaming, or baking. These methods use little or no oil and protect the arteries while still delivering delicious meals. Consider Mrs. Sray, who loved making fried spring rolls for her family. She always reused the oil to stretch her budget. Over time, she began experiencing fatigue and dizziness. Her doctor explained that her cholesterol was high and advised her to stop reusing oil. She switched to air frying for some meals and used fresh oil sparingly when frying. The difference in her health and energy surprised her, and her family enjoyed the meals just as much. Another important tip is to choose oils with the right stability for the cooking method. For low-heat cooking or dressings, olive oil and flaxseed oil are excellent. For high-heat stir-frying, avocado oil, canola oil, or sunflower oil are safer. By respecting each oil's smoke point, you preserve its health benefits instead of turning it into something harmful. When you put all of this together, the message becomes clear. Cooking oil is not a neutral ingredient. It can either protect your arteries or clog them. The dangerous mistakes using hydrogenated oils, relying too much on saturated fat-heavy oils, and reusing or overheating oils gradually damage your arteries and raise the risk of heart disease. But by avoiding these mistakes and choosing healthier alternatives, you give your body the gift of protection. The inspiring part is how small the changes need to be. Choosing olive oil instead of margarine, avoiding reused oil, or adding more grilling instead of frying may not feel dramatic, but over months and years, these changes protect your arteries, keep blood flowing freely, and strengthen your heart. Each healthy meal is like a shield against heart attacks and strokes. Heart disease is not inevitable. For many seniors, it feels like clogged arteries are just part of aging, but that is not the truth. With better choices, you can slow or even prevent the process. Your heart has worked faithfully for you all your life. It deserves the support that comes from mindful cooking. So the next time you reach for that bottle of oil, pause and think, is this oil fueling my health? Or is it silently clogging my arteries? The choice is in your hands. By avoiding these dangerous mistakes, you can enjoy meals that are not only delicious, but also nourishing, giving you strength, energy, and independence for years to come.